coming to you from the University of Minnesota, Rochester, our town.
Today we're meeting Dr. Heidi Welsch, Olmsted County's new administrator. Welcome to our town, Heidi.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity to appear.
And congratulations on becoming the new administrator.
Yes, thank you. It's really an honor to serve the community.
Wonderful. Can you tell us a little bit about what these new responsibilities entail?
Well, the administrator oversees and implements with the county board. We have 7 elected commissioners, and the administrator is responsible to implement all of those policy changes.
And you were the deputy administrator beforehand.
I was a deputy administrator for about a year until our longtime administrator, Richard Devlin, who has been in this role since, it's been, I think, 49 years he served at the county. So it's been a long time since we had a change. And he retired on October 31st.
And then you took on the role.
And I took on the role, yes, and it's been wonderful ever since.
That's great. And, for a lot of people, I think the county is Olmsted County or county affairs is sort of this abstract thing. What can the county do for the community? What does it do?
Yes.
And how does your role sort of intervene with that?
That's a great question. Counties tend to have a more invisible role among taxpayers, but we do a very wide, a very broad set of services and deliver a lot of value to the county. So when you think about human services, anytime we have children in protective services, anytime we have mental health challenges, people who are homeless or need services, public assistance or child support, all of those things are delivered by the county, all the counties in Minnesota at that level. Corrections, when somebody is in trouble with the law and is under supervision, that's part of the county work. We also have an entire set of services that I would call has to do more with the environment, the built and natural environment. So we have a park system. We run the waste to energy facility, which people will be familiar with out by the county campus. That's a facility that takes all the municipal waste from Olmsted County and burns it and turns it into steam and electricity. It's a wonderful concept and a wonderful program that we have there. We also, of course, manage, maintain, build all of the county roads and bridges, and that's a big job. We have about 520 miles of roads that we maintain. About 120 of them are paved, and the rest are gravel roads in this county. We also do quite a bit. The county does quite a bit around criminal justice. We have the sheriff's department and the county attorney's department, and then we have a section of our work that I would call providing for the foundation of democracy. Really, it's elections. It's about property records. So we have quite a broad set of responsibilities.
Right, the county is literally all around us. Yes. Touch every little part of our community.
That's right.
And in terms of your role, what are some of the main goals that you have as you sort of step into this role?
Yes, well, in fact, the county board has set goals this year for the county, quite a few in those broad categories, and I would touch on just a few of them, if that's all right. We are very focused, and I was here to listen to a taping with Steve Burkhardt. We're very focused on affordable housing and partnership with those other entities in the community around affordable housing through our Housing Redevelopment Authority, that's CHRA. We are very focused on increasing mental health facilities. As many people know, we have a lack of mental health facilities in this community, and really that's not just our community, it's across our state and across our nation. That's a problem. So trying to increase facilities and providers is another piece. I would point to, in the area of environment, our built and natural environment, we're working hard on implementing a water plan, and we're also, people will probably recognize County Road 104 and State Highway 14. People can probably picture that. It's an intersection that comes at an angle. It's a really dangerous intersection. That's one of our top priorities this year, is to try to figure out how can we move forward with an improvement there that will make that intersection more safe as the community grows. We're focused on master plans in the parks. We finished master plans about 2 years ago, and now we're starting to implement. So we're talking about a new nature center at Oxbow Park. People will recognize that. And we're also busy, we'll be implementing a new county land use plan and a long-range transportation plan. And then finally, I would give you one last goal, which is it's a big deal in the counties. 2018 is an election year. It's very important to us that we get that fair and accurate, and that's a piece that we'll be very focused on this year
well,
too.
That's quite a bit. You've got your work cut out for you.
Yes.
Thank you so much for the work that you're doing and
Yes.
will be doing, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Of course.
Our Town is brought to you in part by the following amazing people and organizations.
Clements Chevrolet proudly partners with award-winning KSMQ Public Television. Clements Chevrolet in Rochester. Clements' clear value promise is to make buying a car fast, fair, and simple. Al Specialty Marine. Serving boaters for nearly 40 years with a commitment to really taking care of their customers.
Al Specialty Marine.
The Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund, and the citizens of Minnesota.
And the members of KSMQ Public Television.
More Our Town just ahead. Interim Chancellor Lori Carrell from UMR joins us to talk about civil discourse and free speech on campus. We indulge in an ancient snack, and we explore the first moving picture theater in Rochester. Last week, we talked broomball, and this week we're learning about broom making in the Our Culture segment. Check it out.
My name is Chris Nibbe, and I'm a broom artist. It was about last year when I was showing my brooms at the Living History Fair, someone stopped by and told me I need to be a broom artist, not just a broom maker or demonstrator. And the term broom artist is starting to grow on me. I have a background in architectural design for the last 25 years, and the way brooms are assembled, it's kind of like a building detail. There's more to it than meets the eye. What you see on the outside is just a small portion of what you, on the road to how it gets to be a broom. I don't know if I'd go so far as to call myself a broom architect. I guess if I did a lot of broom drawings, maybe I'd be called a broom architect then. My wife says I have a much better focus when I'm talking and making. It helps to clarify my thought process. So, are my brooms useful or decorative? That is a very common question that I'm asked. People come up and ask, so are these meant to be used? Yes, except for a couple examples of purely art brooms. They're meant to be used. It's another reason I really like this, and especially with the really, really fancy brooms, is it can be useful art. It's just a lot of fun seeing people's look of horror when you grab this really nice looking broom and then start sweeping up the dust bunnies with it. They're just, what? It's too pretty to use. It's like, well, it's meant to be used. You know, that's one of the goofy things about Rochester is you can live here for so long and still find surprises in town. I've only discovered the creative circles within the last year of Rochester. I am fortunate to be a part of this Gallery 24 collective, and so many people that want to share their art and just spread the word, but it's in its infancy. I mean, we're just starting to realize how many of us are in town, and that, hey, it can be fun to work together. When I first got into making the brooms, I was doing these demonstrations in 2013, 2014, and the reaction was, "You make these? Sweet." There's so many things a broom and the broom fiber can do. What can be done? I have no idea when that question will be answered. But there's the finished broom.
For more information about this story and other Our Town features, connect with us on Facebook, Twitter at KSMQ #OurTown, or ksmq.org/OurTown.
You meant it, holding my hand so tight as we flew from Lafayette back to Pacific time, and you laid your head on my shoulder, couple tears we shed over Arizona, an emotional roller coaster.
Today on the Our Town Rundown, we are talking deadlines. Olmsted County is still accepting proposals for what to do with the Bierman House. If you're not familiar with this area landmark, the Bierman House was built in the mid-1860s by the Harmon family. It is now part of the Mayowood Historic District and is owned by the county. If you have a great idea on how best to utilize this currently vacant historic building, you have until February 9th to share your vision. For all details, visit co.olmsted.mn.us. And the 2018 Rochester Fest Button Contest is currently underway. Create this year's winning design and win $500. The contest is open to Olmsted County residents only, and you must have your design submitted by 5 p.m. on Friday, February 23rd. All rules are at rochesterfest.com. And our friends at the Rochester Symphony will be presenting French Festival with performances on February 10th and 11th at Lourdes High School. French composers at their most gushingly gorgeous moments is what Jerry Lance and his team are promising. Get all the details at rochestersymphony.org. Bookworms out there, take note. The Friends of the Library book sale will be Thursday, February 8th through Sunday, February 11th in the auditorium at the library. Times vary, so check out rochesterpubliclibrary.com for details. And I know I'll be looking for my favorite author, Toni Morrison, out there in this book sale. And don't forget, precinct caucuses are coming up next Tuesday, February 6th. This is grassroots participation at its most basic level. To find out where your party of choice is meeting, check out the Secretary of State's website at sos.state.mn.us. Coming up next, a 3,000-year-old snack is as popular as ever. Find out more in this week's Walkabout segment.
Hi everyone, this is Payal Patel with another episode of Our Town Walkabout, and today we're here with National Popcorn Day. Hey Carly, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. It's National Popcorn Day, so we're really excited to be downtown handing out 2,000 bags of popcorn today, so it's a pretty exciting day. I'm not sure of the origins of National Popcorn Day, but we just know that it's one of those awesome holidays that, you know, is kind of a little bit of a random day, but it's one of those days that really kind of people, you know, they hear Popcorn Day. Who doesn't love popcorn?
Thank you. Thank you. So what types of popcorn are in that bag?
So this is from Carrell's Corn, which is a downtown business. There's their regular buttered popcorn, their caramel popcorn, and then their cheddar popcorn. So it's their triple mix, so it's really good.
And what's your favorite thing about National Popcorn Day?
Obviously free popcorn. So if there's anything left over at the end of this, then, you know, I get first dibs.
You get first dibs,
yeah.
Okay.
With our events, there's definitely a quality, there's a funness. We have all our events are pretty much open to the community to participate in. And really it's just, when you come downtown, really just having that experience of just a fun urban environment. So we're really excited to offer events like Popcorn Day and our other core portfolio of events like Thursdays on First and Social Ice.
I'm going to get the corny side. All right, got it.
Just something that, you know, kind of brings a smile to people's face.
The This is Payal Patel signing off with another segment of Our Town Walkabout.
Free speech and civil discourse. Find out why these topics are core to UMR's mission from my next guest. Stay with us.
Our past, remembering what made us who we are today. Brought to you by the History Center of Olmsted County.
In 1936, the Rochester Amusement Company purchased the parking lot of the Red Owl store on 4th Street Southeast. Soon, construction began on what manager Harry Salisbury explained would be the first theater built in Rochester for the perfect presentation of sound and talking pictures. With a 420-seat auditorium and the latest projection equipment, The Time would be Rochester's new ultra-modern theater, not just a converted vaudeville house. As anticipation for the opening of The Time grew, stories were written about the unique canopy, towering sign, and flashing neon that added brilliance to 4th Street Southeast. The Chamber of Commerce planned a special 2-day trade event. The Post-Bulletin, for the first time, created a special section of the newspaper dedicated to the Time Theater. Merchants promoted the theater opening by making puns using the word time in their advertising. Finally, at 1 p.m. on January 8, 1937, patrons stepped from near 20 below temperatures into a perfect 70-degree lobby to see the first-run movie, Three Smart Girls.
University of Minnesota Rochester Interim Chancellor Lori Carrell is passionate about communication, and she's here today to tell us why. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. So, civil discourse. When I think of civil discourse, is it anything like this? Calvin and Hobbes and Susie talking to each other?
Well, perhaps that is discourse. I don't know so much about the civil because we can't hear them.
So how do you define civil discourse?
Well, civil discourse is human communication about diverse ideas, important ideas, and communication that is characterized by mutual respect and exploration.
So how is that different from free speech, which we hear a lot about?
Right, so free speech, of course, is a constitutional right here in the United States, but the words free speech don't necessarily describe how we go about that freedom of expression, whereas civil discourse, which is absolutely necessary for learning and for this messy government form we call democracy, civil discourse must be characterized by deep learning, deep listening, mutual respect, and not all speech has that kind of characteristics.
And so what role does an institution like UMR have in supporting something like civil discourse?
Well, it's at the heart of the very process of learning itself. So rather than saying, here's an idea, here's another one that's different, let's find the one that is exactly right, it is through the interaction of various perspectives that we get to new knowledge and generate new ideas. So civil discourse is necessary for learning.
You have this upcoming convocation event that's going to be centered completely around this idea of civil discourse. What is that going to look like, and what do you hope students get out of that?
Well, this is a really special event at UMR. It's a time that we're gathering all faculty and staff and students together, and we rarely get to do that. It's hard to find a space where we can all fit, so this is a first convocation, and we picked this topic because we think it's so important to our mission here at UMR. And what we hope to accomplish is to advance our knowledge about civil discourse and freedom of speech, because they're often connected. So we have two scholars who will be with us who will talk about the legal aspects, the historical aspects of both freedom of speech and civil discourse, and then the practice of civil discourse. And we will be engaging in that practice necessary for leadership, which we expect of our students. So it's going to be a wonderful time for our community.
Great. Well, this is something that all of us can learn from. Why is it limited to the UMR community for now?
Well, first there's the space issue of packing us all in. We do have many events that are open to the community, including UMR Connects, which is every Tuesday night. And you'll find that with the kinds of topics we have at UMR Connects, civil discourse occurs frequently.
And I know you can't speak for all students, but this idea of civil discourse is also reflective in the diversity of your student population. So how are you sort of thinking about diversity in your students and this idea of civil discourse?
One of the things of which we're most proud at UMR is the diversity of our student body. And with over a dozen languages spoken and all kinds of political viewpoints and religious viewpoints, the learning environment is made more rich. And as we learn to interact across those differences, we don't do so by avoidance of important topics, but we need to be able to exchange those ideas and to, with humility, listen to the perspectives of others and acknowledge them as absolutely real.
And has there been a student response to this convocation? Are people excited? Are they interested?
Yes, very much so. We have a diversity inclusion committee that includes students and faculty and staff who have put this together. I'm so pleased with this. And then we have many student groups who have leaders who are already engaged in promoting civil discourse. And so it seemed like just a really important topic. We want to be leaders and innovators, our students, our faculty, and our staff, and it's going to be necessary for us to be able to exchange ideas.
And for those of us that can't attend this, can you give us maybe a little primer about, some ways that we could kind of practice civil discourse in our everyday lives?
Absolutely. So it begins, you would hope, with curiosity about the other. So if you have a perspective that's different than me, do I just change the channel or get in another conversation, or am I curious? And as those who are involved in education, we start with that curiosity. Now, why does he think that? What experiences has he had that have led him to think that? I want to understand that. And simultaneously, I want to be understood. So there's curiosity. There's a humility that what I think and know to be right and good is not the only reality. And so that humility is important. And then the assumption of positive intent. So there are good people with good intentions who don't agree with you. I don't know if you know that, but it's a good place to start, to know that there is much positive intent across many types of difference, and to expect that, to seek common ground, but not to be afraid, not to avoid the places where we're different.
Sure. I mean, this is such a great skill for students to then take out into workforce areas. I mean, how are you connecting those for students in terms of future careers, leadership opportunities?
Absolutely. So we have a set of student outcomes here that we measure for and that we teach toward. And they include creative and critical thinking and communication and social engagement and a host of leadership skills. So for innovation and leadership, we're producing creative and compassionate leaders and innovators. This skill will be necessary. We can't make progress by avoidance or aggression in conversation. Instead, we need to generate new ideas across our differences.
So you mentioned this was going to be the first convocation.
Yes.
Can you explain a little bit of what the idea or philosophy of just a general convocation is? I know they're very popular in institutions of higher education, but for those of us that don't know too much about it.
Well, so often students may gather in clubs and organizations and have good discourse, and faculty are deliberating all of the time, and staff have various meetings, but for all of us to be together is the beginning of speaking across difference. And so the idea is to pick an issue that is of importance in education, and to deliberate that issue, and then to use what we learn as we interact with each other as we go forward in meetings and classes and clubs and so forth. So this is that opportunity for us to come to a common understanding about free speech, civil discourse, and then to begin to practice it and to push each other a little bit in healthy directions.
So what does that pushing look like?
The pushing looks like not avoiding important matters. So when we find we have a difference, do we continue our relationship, or do we just keep it at a surface level? We can't afford to avoid issues in higher education. We have to be able to engage in them and to come to understand the perspective of the other. And it's not the other, like there's one person who's different, but the multitude of diverse perspectives. We will be better as learners, as a culture, as a democracy, the better and better we get at civil discourse.
And UMR is focused a lot on health science, is that correct, right? So civil discourse in health sciences, do you have some ideas about what that looks like? Some ways in which you're talking to your students about connecting health sciences and civil discourse?
Right. It's part of the learning process. So as they become learners, they must engage in philosophy class and sociology class. They look at ethics in communication and then go into policy and public health. All of this is very, very important for them as they do that.
Is there anything else you'd like to share in terms of this convocation that you're having and just any general methods around civil discourse?
What we want to do is both model and practice what it means to communicate across difference in a respectful way. And it's not only about being polite, it's about being real with our differences. And so I hope this advances us as a community here at UMR.
Well, that's so exciting, and you're definitely molding the future leaders of our community, so thank you for that.
And they are teaching us a great deal as well.
Great. Well, thanks a lot for joining us today.
Thank you.
Great. And thank you for joining us today. We learned quite a bit about civil discourse and about a lot of other things. And we'll be sure to see you next time on Our Town, the show about Rochester, here from the University of Minnesota, Rochester.
Educational, wholesome, enriching and quality. KSMQ TV shows about people, places, things you know. Programs with the family fit, tuned to the source. KSMQ TV, the better choice.
You can access more information about KSMQ on Facebook and at ksmq.org.